Hello, today we discuss how to work in disease tab. Let's go to this tab, just clicking on the tab name at the bottom of Excel. We have only one main table in this tab and another table on the right where just results from the first table. Actually, the diseases are listed alphabetically. If you have already seen the previous video about surveillance tab, you may learn that the tool is dynamic, meaning that it doesn't matter in which order diseases are entered in the left table, which is table where values can be edited. The tool reorders items, in this case diseases, and there will be always alphabetically diseases will reorder. So if I add, let's say, disease with AAA and fill all these fields, you see it gets on the top of the list, and all diseases are numbered. Again, this numbering on the right side, it's important because when the list is completed and we start budgeting, this number is used in unique code. So by knowing this number, we know what disease is there. So using numbers enables us the tool to generate very concise small code which is unique. And we know that disease is second in this code, and this will be the number. So we will discuss this in specific video next time. Let's go back and see what are these columns and what is specific with this tab. The tab comes with preloaded 22 vaccine preventable diseases. It doesn't preclude country to add more diseases which are relevant to the country. There is no need to delete any of them because if they are not used during the budgeting, they don't really make it too heavy, so it's better to keep them. Maybe one day you will need it. And what you see in the second column, this is something the country has to check every year, because in this column we indicate whether this disease is a priority for the country for surveillance. So and the status of the disease, its importance, its surveillance focus on this disease may change any year, and it can be planned in a policy. So there will be somewhere the policy would say that from in 2 years we will focus on these diseases as well, which are not priority now because we try to allocate our resources, concentrate them on more important. But as soon as we get better capacity, we can expand the cycle, the scope of priority repeated surveillance diseases. So this section has to be revised presumably every year. And it's simply in the drop-down list there are two values, priority, non-priority. So when you select priority, the disease on the left side font is changed to bold. So you see priority and pertussis became the bold. So when you look at the table, it's easy to notice which disease is a priority, irrespective where the disease or when it was entered on the left side. On the right side, the right column in this table, is the final table to prepare the tool for drawing design of the surveillance system. In this table, we indicate what type of surveillance is used for the disease. And in the literature, in different normative guidance documents, there is a lot of there are different typology, let's say, and different names you can find describing and trying to group surveillance into different categories. Now, we found that the recommended types of surveillance by WHO is more simple and could be sufficient to let the users calculate results grouped under some aggregated under certain types. And let's see what we have here. We have two items which refer to case-based surveillance. In the first case, lab confirmation is required for every case or cases, so otherwise it cannot be, it's not confirmed without lab test confirmation. And second case basis where lab tests are required only in case of lab confirmations required only in case of outbreaks. Third type of surveillance in this list is Sentinel, and the fourth one is all other. So whatever is known typology, they can be included here. And these both columns, type of diseases and surveillance types, they are used only to group results, final results. They're not used for computation, and it is presumed that policymakers, program people want to know what is the ratio of, or share, let's say, of Sentinel surveillance in the entire surveillance budget. So these categories help to consolidate, aggregate final numbers by 4 surveillance types and show the structure of the budget, not by diseases or by functions of surveillance, but just surveillance types. So that's the value of these 2 columns. That's why this we expect won't change frequently. Priority or non-priority status can change, but not the surveillance types. Although this might be case when country introduce advanced standards or moves from 1 to B point, there can be methods can change. And last point here is that again, it's about unique values. Last point. So similar to surveillance type, again here, you cannot repeat the disease twice. So if I put here mumps second time, here, you will see what happens. It colors in red duplicate records. So it actually alarms us, saying that we need to delete. We cannot keep both the same name. But what happens if a country wants to use Sentinel together with case-based without the lab type of surveillance? So let's say 2 methods, 2 types of surveillance of the same disease. So to this to happen, so this to register in the true, again, even the Sentinel is surveillance type is different in these 2 cases. For the 2, it's still duplication because there should be just one formulation of the disease. So what we suggest and what you will find in the user guide is that it's better to use some suffix, let's say mumps sen, or you can say s, whatever. So just some suffix which makes this mumps disease different from this one, because when you get to the planning, you need to indicate which disease. And although maps are same in the both cases, we need to keep in mind that sometimes we need to indicate disease combined or paired with surveillance type. And to make this, to distinguish these two different maps, we can use suffixes like this. So it's obvious that this is a kind of default or main type of surveillance, and maybe for some reason, for vaccination coverage, effectiveness, or other reasons, we need also to establish sentinel sites and check the incidence of this disease in certain group of populations. So that's what is also specific in this tool, and that's one of the, let's say, tricks. The rest is the same because that's a generic function of the tool. We see some diseases are shaded in light green. What does it mean? It means that these diseases are used in planning or in projects tab, meaning that they are used to construct the budget, while others are not. And what does it tell us? It tells us that first we can change easily the, any item here, wording, let's say, and change spelling, and it can be painless because it's not used somewhere, so you don't need to follow it in other tabs and change, replace old with new entities. And second, what is interesting, that it makes it easy to visualize whether we forgot any of the diseases while budgeting. So when you finish the budgeting exercise, I mean, working in the budgeting tab, it's better to come back and look at it. Well, why hepatitis B is white? So if you saw that hepatitis B has to be budgeted because it's covered by surveillance system, and if it's still here white, so it's not green, it means that you have to go back and add these diseases to the budget. I think that's all for this particular tab. Other things and hints and steps you can find in the respective part of the user manual in step-by-step instructions. Thank you for staying with us, and see you, or we meet each other again in the another tutorial, which will be presumably about inputs tab.